nasty sounding burp.
I don't have anything right now, sorry.
Okay, that's sufficient. This episode of Getting Tabled is brought to you by Valhalla Hobby. Use code TABLE to get 5% off any order over $100, one use only. Thank you to our tablers for choosing to support us. Please consider joining for only $2 a month. You can listen to us record this live and get early access to almost all video content on the YouTube channel.
Brought to you by some guys on the internet.
This is Getting Tabled.
With your hosts, Jason the Bruce,
You guy!
George the Yang,
I hope you are all entertained by my inaptitude.
Jason aka Major Socks.
We've been doing this and talking about various stuff. One of the stuff.
Now sit back, relax, and get tabled.
Hello, future people, and welcome to episode 182 of Getting Tabled with your host, Jason. He's sipping from his coffee, the Bruce.
Yes, I am. Damn right I am. Wonderful, wonderful morning down here in Australia. Is that all of the positive I have? Yeah, I think that's all the positive. No, it's fine. And we also have...
You weren't attacked by a spider or a snake this morning either, so that's also positive, probably.
No, our emu overlords keep us safe. It's very wonderful of them. We also have with us the main man. Oh, speaking of emus, more discussion on that later.
Yes.
We have with us the man of 1,000 opinions, all of them about Warhammer, Major Socks.
None of them about Warhammer, and about a third of the news is mine of the day, so I'm excited. So
It's all Warhammer.
no, it's not.
It is. One story in particular. He's very excited for the new helmet that's putting the rest of us to sleep.
We talked about the new helmet last time.
Yeah, they've got another one. It's on a chaplain this time.
Okay.
It's totally different.
See how much I care about Warhammer. And we got George.
The year of our great Emperor Lord 40,000, we shall return to the ways of Terra. Something like that, right?
Something like that.
Who knows?
I mean, we're getting there. We're getting pretty close.
Newly received or noteworthy information, especially about recent or important events.
We are starting with one of Socks' stories. So Socks has gone out of his way to upset all of the war people today by pointing out that Warlord games are not going to make guns out of metal anymore.
Yeah, so this is
all
for
Socks'
bolt action.
fault.
Yeah, it is. So this is their bolt action game. They're getting ready to move into third edition, and I played bolt action many years ago. I enjoyed the game. I really did. I've toyed about getting back into it because I've enjoyed it that much. But with the changing of their armies, with how third edition is coming about, most of their guns in the past for their artillery guns, their heavy anti-tank guns, or even their machine guns sometimes, would all be made out of metal. And now that they're changing the army, you can actually get more of these guns per army. And so they're moving away from metal guns into plastic weaponry. So
Both those melt, though, when they fire up?
right? Yes, you're right. But, I mean, we've talked about metal figurines in years past, or episodes past, and how it can be difficult sometimes to use. I'm just excited to see this, and I just hope they do this with other...
Yeah, just to re-clarify for the folks, like, it's not that it's difficult for me to use, it's just when it comes loose from its storage, as it will do because they're metal and heavier, it just destroys like anything that's around.
I mean, the benefit of something like metal is that it's really easy to strip if you want to repaint it. The downside of metal is that it's really easy for paint to come off when you don't want it to. And like, yes, varnish is a thing, but like metal in particular doesn't hold paint very well.
I'm gonna counter argue you on they're easy to strip. In our modern technology of chemical creation, there is an abundance of paint removal technology that does not affect plastic and resins. So I'm gonna say that your argument of easy to strip is a worthless one.
I would argue that
Just
metal is always going to be easier because you don't have to be careful
absolutely.
about how you do it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can always just drop, a pewter thing into a thing of acetone and come back 20 minutes later and you're good.
Yeah.
Plastic and resins, it could take you, 24 to 72 hours to do it, but, it is doable. But yeah, that point is valid. So go ahead, continue on, Bruce. Sorry.
Oh, I think this is... I know that there's going to be a part of the community that's upset with this because there's a part of the community that always gets upset when there's less metal around. And I get it. I know it's a huge nostalgia thing. I understand that. Hard plastics, for most people, is the pinnacle of miniature hobby.
Miniatures.
I know not everybody agrees with that, but it's an easier material to work with. Sorry, if you want games to grow, you need to have that. Warlord have been doing plastics for a while. Companies like Wargames Atlantic are getting plastic kits a lot more affordable. And realistically, if armies are going to need more of these, then there's more justification to make them in plastic because you will actually sell enough of them. They clearly haven't done that until now because we're never going to sell enough to get our money back.
Yeah.
And that's discussed here in the article too. Is they talk about how much it costs to spool the molds for plastic models versus resin or metal, and so that was their justification in years past, was they were only selling a few guns here and there per army, and now they're going to be selling more per army with this new structure. So
there was a story a couple of years ago that we covered where there was companies moving away from metal, and one of the explanations that we used at the time, which has proven to be false, was... Oh, no, sorry, it wasn't us that said it. We were quoting the article. It was basically about, like, metal is becoming harder to get. This is during the pandemic.
Yeah.
But, like, ultimately, that is ultimately still eventually going to become a thing. Moving into plastics is ultimately going to be better for the long term. Because you only have to make that mold once, and it lasts forever. Whereas the metal ones and the resin ones, well, sorry, more so resin than metal, but like that, they still ultimately only last for so long.
Yeah, they do wear out and degrade the more they're used. Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
Look, I think this is good for the company. I think this is good to see. I'd like to see this happening across Conflict 47 as well. I mean, I know a lot of their newer kits are already coming in plastic, but there is some stuff in the previous edition that's still out there that's kind of like those hybrid kits.
Well, and even with their Black Sea stuff, their first rate ships are all resin molds for the holes, but then the masts themselves are all metal. And so I wish they would, some of those, since I like that game too, move into resin or plastic for even those pieces. But time will tell.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see what the audience size is for that game. I mean, Black Seas isn't the smallest of games out there on the market, but I don't.
It's smaller
know
than
how many
for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Bolt Action's a game that because you kind of told like that you were tempted to kind of get back into it. It's one of those games where I've looked at a couple of times because I really like the idea of their dice mechanic. I realize that it's not entirely a balanced option. It's also not supposed to be. But it's a really fun idea that I'd love to try out sometime. I mean, Batman did it, and like, so, I mean, I have seen how it works, sort of, but seeing it on a larger scale would be interesting. But I'm still not hugely so I'm kind of with you on that, where I'm kind of like, you know what, this has been on my radar for a while, but yeah. We are going to move away from this into something I hinted at earlier. This is another historical war game. Yes.
The Australian historicals.
This is the Emu War. Now, I'm trying to remember who shared it. Was it Shay or was it JP?
It was Shay. It was
was
Shay. I
Shay?
saw it. It was Shay.
Shay shared this. I don't remember what the name of the company was, but one of the online websites was doing a review of this, and he pointed it out to me. And I was like, ooh, I'm going to find out who this company actually is. So they have created a 6mm war game. Wait, is it 6 mil? Yeah, 6 mil.
It's 6 mil.
The Emu War. This is the pinnacle of really stupid ideas, but in a really great way. We have joked about how this would be fun on the tabletop. It also is, because of the scale that they're doing it, it's also really cheap. Like, they got 6 mil scale emus, and because you're doing it in 6 mil, you only really need a couple of them. As in, like, individual sculpts. You don't need to sculpt 100 different looking armies. Miniatures. Like, the base set comes with 2 Lewis MMGs. You get 60 emus and free rules included. And that's for £13 essentially. You can also buy it with reinforcements, and the reinforcement comes with an extra 20 figures. Like, you can, like, it's really dumb, but in the best way. I love this idea so much. The only negative thing I would say is that I would like to see some more pictures. I'd like to see some pictures on the website of everything built up, so that you can actually, like, just a shot of one army and the other forces. I really love this idea. So this is being done from a company in the UK called 2D6 Wargaming. They also make a measuring stick that has an emu head on the other side, which is really dumb.
With a British World War One helmet.
Yep.
Yes.
Which is just cut acrylic, which is fine. Oh, it comes with 2 of them apparently, 1 for each player. I won't lie, I'm really tempted to invest in this at some point. I mean, the stupid thing about this, realistically, is this is a game that you would play once or twice a year. This is the sort of thing where you buy this, you paint it up, and it sits in the shelf, and then you and a mate pull this out once a year on an anniversary to just play through it again and see how it goes.
The anniversary of the Emu War, Bruce. That's when you play it.
I would have to check what time of year it was. I'm sure that this information will be out there somewhere, but for me, I'd want to play it on the day that we gave up. If you don't know about the Emu War, by the way, George and I have said this a few times.
December 10th.
December 10th?
That's the date. Yeah, December 10th, 1932 is when the war ended.
Okay. So, very, very brief part of history. This is a really stupid story. The best part about how stupid this story is it really happened. There were some farmers in Western Australia that were having issues with emus going into their crops. These were veterans of World War One that were kind of like, they'd been given assistance from the government, but none of them really knew what they were doing. They were like trying to make their money and trying to make a new life for themselves. And they didn't really know how to solve this problem. So they went to the government and said, hey, we're having issues with these emus. Can you kill them? The government kind of said no. And then the person in charge of the army said, stuff it, we're going to do it anyway. This will be good training for the boys. They sent out, literally, a couple of people with some machine guns to try to slaughter these emus because it was going to be really easy training. But the problem is that when you try to shoot at an emu, most of its feathers So actually hitting the emu in a section where you're actually going to do any damage is very difficult. Also, they're insanely fast. They're much faster than you think they are. A bit like ostriches are much faster than you think they are as well. So, like, you take a couple of shots, you might be lucky enough to get 2 or 3 if you're lucky, and they're all gone. They spent a stupid amount of money on ammo and basically only killed a handful over the period. But then they complained again, and so they sent out a jeep, which they lost to the emus. It's a really stupid story, but something that genuinely actually happened. Look up the Great Emu War. There's a few quite amusing YouTube videos on it. Morpars has one that's like a minute long, which is just a short. But there's people that have done deep dives into it. There's people out there that have kind of like tried to tell the story from the emu's point of view about how they're trying to resist this army from the evil Australia. It's so good.
Oh my god. So, even more ridiculous about this, Bruce, the guy who's leading this, do you know what his name is, Bruce?
I should know, but I don't remember it.
Oh my god. This is... Are you ready for this? Major Gwynedd Purvis Wyn Aubrey Meredith.
It sounds like a name that somebody made up.
What? Socks. If this guy was your rank peer in the Air Force, you would make fun of him, wouldn't you?
Yes, I would.
So, like, ultimately, like, it is a war. But they did
Meredith.
They did quite literally declare war on this group of emus. It was a giant flock of them. So it is a war that they lost because they gave up. It's like 1932? Yeah,
1932. Yep, it was declared. War was declared November 2nd, 1932. The Royal Australian Army surrendered on December 10th of 32. So it lasted 1 month, 1 week, and 1 day.
Yeah, and we've been ruled by emus in human suits ever since.
I need to go find an emu squawk and add it to the soundboard.
I can't disagree with you on that. That's a great idea.
That would be fun.
Maybe that could be the new audio clipper for me at the start when we get rid of yokai.
Next up, Socks, here's some of the Games Workshop news you're excited about too.
Yeah, sure. Let's move on to the next one. That's more exciting than this.
Look, this is going to be really quick.
This is really cool.
We have a new Blood Angels
really
chaplain. Cool. I actually think the miniature looks really cool. I can't say I don't think it's very exciting. Like, it's an update of a sculpt that wasn't that old. And it doesn't really...
So,
it's fine.
Let me rephrase my statement. The overall scope of the article is really cool because it takes us on a journey of how the chaplain has evolved over the course of, Warhammer 40K.
So, there's a lot of very old sculpts. The chaplain's been around essentially since the start-ish. And you kind of see how they evolve, where you get your Terminator 1s and your Old Hammer 1 where he looks like a clown. And you get your bike one, which is nice. You get showing off some custom ones here from other forces as well, because you got your Dark Angels one, and that's very clearly supposed to be a Space Wolves one.
Yep. I think it's Ulrich or something like that is...
Probably. Does it say? I'm not sure if it says.
Yeah.
And then you continue down into where I came in. These are the Restic ones that were around. Not Restic, Finecast ones. They started as Fine Crap. They became
Fine Crap.
Yep.
Fine Crap. Not fine cast, fine crap.
We have Lamatis here, which is probably still my favorite chaplain, which is a special character from the Blood Angels that's in charge of the Death Company. And then this next group is the modern ones as it was. And the one here where he's got his ribs and the cane out in front on foot is probably still my favorite at this stage.
That is also the first Primaris chaplain, too.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And then we get some more characters shown off. For some reason, they have Astartes here, which I don't... not Astartes, what's his name? The guy with the axe. Anyway, whatever his name is. I didn't think he was a chaplain.
Is it
Anyway.
Azrael? No, that's Dark Angels. Azazel? I don't know.
Whatever his name is. And then, yeah, we get the new chaplain down here. Now, the benefit of this, of course, is that this is going to be really easy to convert if you're not playing Blood Angels.
Yep.
I don't see anything on this that's specifically...
Maybe the other shoulder
detail-oriented?
pad.
Maybe
the other shoulder
Talking
pad.
about
But
the
yeah,
back-
it's
the back right.
But even
The
then,
what?
I don't...
The right shoulder pad.
yeah, the one where he's holding his beat stick. Yeah, like can't really tell what's on that shoulder pad.
But even then, like, I don't really think there's going to be much of an issue converting this for people, because I think this is going to be one of the miniatures that people are going to want.
Oh yeah, Bruce, you want to hear something? Hear my take on something real quick that may shock you a little bit.
Sure.
I like the tactical terrain on this guy because it serves a purpose.
Yeah, actually, that's fair.
It's a flight stand that's not a flight stand because he's an assault chaplain with a fun little jump pack.
And it's just a single rock that could be in the middle of anywhere. You can
Exactly,
easily cover
yeah,
it in snow. You can easily put it in the middle of a building and make it rubble.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It gives him that what's the word?
Perception of flying.
Yeah. I was gonna say an action pose. He's not a static miniature, but then you don't have like the stupid little clear, flight stand. Yeah.
Yeah. There is a... It looks thick enough that you're not going to have this wobbly issue.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a good thing. Astarath is the name I was trying to think of earlier.
Okay.
Astarath the Grim. And now, of course, the moment that everybody has been waiting for. Socks, this is your 30 minutes to talk about why you love this miniature.
Yeah, sure. I thought we were going into the next news.
So now I need two more sound clips.
Everybody's very disappointed.
I need 2 sound clips for the soundboard now. I need an emu squawking, and I need crickets chirping.
Yes.
Actually, that's not a bad call. Butcher and Bolt, Socks did put this on. I was going to anyway. I have been following this campaign, I think, as long as you have been.
Yeah.
Butcher and Bolt has relaunched, because we did touch on this once before. It launched, and then it kind of quickly got taken down to be redone, because the feedback they got was kind of like, it wasn't really going as well as they hoped. It's certainly gone very well this time.
Much better.
Yeah. I mean, you wanted to talk about it, so here you go, Socks.
So actually, there's about a 3-hour video of gameplay that they did, and I watched about half of it. And so this is based off of World War II skirmish-size games, where you can have small games, a small force, which is like up to 8 soldiers, a medium force is like up to 12, and they didn't say how big the large one was, but somewhere around there. And think of commando raids. So you've got a small group of specialists. Yeah, go ahead, Bruce.
30. The large is up to 30.
That's right. So think of like small is like you got your little commando raids, you got some specialists and stuff like that. But then you're going off and doing special missions, like raiding a submarine pen or capturing documents in a downed aircraft or something like that. And they use the concept that we were talking about with bolt action. They use that concept of drawing dice out of the bag or cubes out of the bag to see who goes first or next through this. And then they have other colored cubes that will have an event throughout the game. And if certain cubes are drawn out of the bag, the turn may end prematurely before you're able to play all of your figurine, your miniatures. And so it's kind of interesting how this dynamic works. And it can use pretty much any World War II figurine from 28 mil all the way down to 15 mil. And so you can use any agnostic style of brand of figurine. This is pretty much just the rules and some of the operations and the tokens that you're going to need for the game, for this play.
Interesting. So they're not making any minis. They're just saying, go use whatever.
Exactly.
Interesting. So my first point is, I think this is a game that Bruce will find to be very frustrating and terrible.
Why?
Well, because look how dice roll, and then much of your turn you get to do is based on what color cube comes out. You're never going to have a turn, Bruce.
That's fair. I actually really like the idea of you never know when that cube's going to come out. Because as much as
that is really cool, yeah.
That is going to be a mechanic that people will either love or hate. There is going to be no grey area on that. Certain people are going to hate that, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. I understand it. I could certainly... I know that there will be games that I would play of this where that would annoy me to no end. Because guaranteed, it's definitely going to happen to me. The moment where I'm going to turn the game around, or the moment, like the important moment that I get to do it, and then it all goes pear-shaped.
And this also has... So going back to first edition of Drop Fleet Commander, where you have unit cards, where you had your battle group cards that you would put in order. This also has that mechanic in here. So each of your miniatures is numbered a certain number, and you can group them into small groups of soldiers. So like a machine gun team or something like that, you can group them together. And so you at the beginning of each turn, you're planning your cards in the order that you want them to activate. So that when one of your cubes, you don't know when your cube is going to be pulled out of the bag, but when one does, you're going to flip over that first order card that you've given to your soldiers for them to activate. And so you're still kind of using that Drop Fleet Commander programming that we had in version 1, but then the bolt action dice of not knowing when your activation is going to happen. And so I think it's a cool mechanic. I actually just pledged it today. I backed it today. After watching the video, I was very enthralled. And like I said, if I get back into bolt action, I can use the same same figurines that I'm going to be using in bolt action in this.
I just noticed something for the first time, and I think George will appreciate this. George, have you seen what the rulebook looks like?
No. Where's the rulebook?
It's spiral bound. It can actually lie flat.
Yeah.
That is an extremely premium option. Games Workshop don't even do that.
It's a better way to do a rulebook. I wouldn't say it's a premium option because, like, let's be honest, a nice hardbound book that looks nice sitting on the shelf. But in the case of like Drop Fleet, where you're flipping through and looking at stuff constantly, like having a book that lays out flat and you can just... That was perfect. I actually got my Malifaux books, and they're all soft back or soft spine books and everything. Now I'm wondering, like, should I go have those spines cut off and have them spiral bound? But probably not, because they're way too pretty.
They are very pretty, yeah. It's not something you see very often. I know that there are people out there that do this to their rule books on purpose. I have never been that person. I just don't have the heart to cut a book open like that. But I understand why people do it. I mean, having one that's actually designed that way. To me, this gives me... I mean, it... Oh, sorry, yep.
I was going to say, it's also more realistic, because Socks can attest to this. How many of the training and field manuals are spiral
They're,
bound like this, so
they
they
are.
lay flat.
That's actually a
Pretty
very.
much
I
every single
hadn't
one that
thought of
know
that. What I was going to say, because like this, although Sniper Elite is like a one versus many video game, it still gives me that vibe because you're the one person going into this and trying to. But if it's not that, does anybody remember the old Commando games?
I have them. I just got the newest one. It's a great series.
There's a new one?
There's a new one. There's a new one. It just came out last year.
Okay.
Stop talking about that for real quick. It's all gone. But did you see the add-ons at the bottom of the pledge?
Yeah, you can help design scenario. A mission.
Well, there's only 6 slots, and it looks like they're all gone. But for £395, you got to help design a mission.
You know what? I think I'm backing this.
Because I mean, look, you've gotten some World War II soldiers already. You just need to get another half, and you can play this game.
Yeah, I mean, and as much as yes, I mean, it's one of those things where it's based in history, but it's not a historical game per se. Like you're not having to relive out. You can kind of do whatever you want with this. I would also argue that you don't necessarily have to do this as World War II. You could do this as modern day combat very easily.
Yeah, I would agree.
I was going to say, like, give me some Team Yankee.
Yeah.
Navy SEALs or, Green Berets or something.
No, screw that. Just freaking a bunch of E3s and a couple of E4s from the Marine barracks and watch the world burn.
So there's been a few videos of this. I mean, you touched on one of them. One of the first ones I saw was the video by On Tabletop. I had been following the campaign already at that point. But yeah, that's the first one that I saw, and like they had completely customized an entire map and stuff for it. It was really good.
Yeah,
I would definitely recommend going out and watching some of these videos. Socks and I have both been following this for quite some time. We had both made jokes at one point about this game is never going to be launched. It wasn't a matter of this is never going to be released, but they were being so particular about making sure they got everything right that it felt like the campaign should have been launched months before it was. I feel very confident about this because they are clearly a team of people that want things to be done the right way, and they have over-engineered this to the point of that this feels like a very easy win.
Yeah, I mean this thing got funded in less than 19 hours, and there's still 25 days left of the campaign, and so it's done better than their original launch. And like you said, they got some feedback on their original launch, and people are liking it. Like I said, I just backed it tonight. What's your thoughts on it, George? I know you had some.
I think it's a really cool, neat idea. So here's the thing. One, making minis is not cheap. Like, you either have to go get a mold made or you're doing resin casting or metal casting. Making minis is not cheap. So to do games like that, whether it's a board game or a minis game, it's a very cost prohibitive situation. So the fact that they made the decision of we're just going to use what is already in the market. Like there's lots of companies out there that have done really good minis that, for them to just, reinvent the mini, it seems kind of pointless for them. So I kind of like the fact that they're doing that. And the fact that it's just going to be, a couple of, books that you have to essentially get with some action add-ons.
Yeah.
And that will allow them to, one, definitely keep costs down, but two, it'll allow them to actually focus a lot more on the game development and this new mechanic of, how the turn goes. I think it's a great idea because that's one of the things that's just like, it's one of my complaints with 40K. It's the you go, I go, you go, I go. Drop Fleet fixed that, but by which has a better strategy rating. Age of Sigmar, even for a while, had the who takes the first half of the turn off a dice roll every turn. So it's like if you have the bottom, you might get the top. Mixing it up, I think, is so much better for the gameplay to challenge you, I guess.
Yeah. Especially if you don't know if you're going to be able to activate your entire army. I mean, you may have 12 figurines in your force, and like I said, the turn may end after you've activated 6 or 7 of them, just because of the way that the cubes are pulled out. And so, yeah, you may plan to do something, but it may not happen. So I think that's kind of a cool mechanic too.
And as much as we joke that means that I won't get my turn, realistically, that moment of, oh, it didn't work, affects both sides. It's not just one. Granted, there is a strong chance that it will be one person has had more activations than others, but that doesn't mean that it only affects one side.
Correct.
There's a thing about war where you can't predict everything, and it's something that wargaming has always struggled to capture. I mean, that's the whole idea behind the bolt action dice in a bag thing. And that's all well and good. But this, I feel, captures it better, at least in theory, because it you literally can't predict this.
Yep.
And the thing is about this too is some of these missions or some of these operations they have are just single missions, but some of them are like 3 or 4, 6 missions. And so you can kind of do a campaign system too. They talked about it in the video where you
like a legacy almost.
Yeah, you've got a small band of soldiers and their wounds may affect how they operate in the next mission, or their experience levels will change and so on. But they also have rules for vehicles. They all have rules for solitaire, so you can play this by yourself. You can play this as teams. So it's very cool concept that they're putting together here. And like you said, George, with them not focusing on the miniatures, they're able to focus in on operations and more missions and stuff like that as well.
You know what? It's something they'd have to do on the back end, but you know what really behooves them? Go talk to someone like War Games Atlantic. Because, they have everything. So why not just be like, hey, War Games Atlantic, can we just do direct links to you?
Warlord is a huge
Warlord, yeah, that's another one. Yeah.
Action stuff.
Yeah. I mean, there is Warlord kits featured in this. They will have had to have spoken to them in order to do that.
And not just Warlord. They have War Games. They have a whole. Where are they? They've got World Ablaze. They've got Perry Miniatures. They've got Vitrix. I mean, they've got 4 or 5 companies out there that they're showing miniatures that will work for this game.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the other side of this, like George was saying about how rather than trying to create your own miniatures, which is really expensive, the other side of that really is that pretty much everything's been done.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there is some niche stuff out there that hasn't been done, sure. But the things that people want already exist in 3 or 4 different companies, at least, that at best you're going to maybe look as good as. But you're probably not going to look as good as the big companies. Unless you get really, really lucky with your sculptor. So why try to enter a market that that's a mission you can't win, so why? Concentrating on the rules, it's less that can go wrong. Concentrate on the rules, get it out there, and then everything else it lowers the risk.
Actually, I just scrolled down. So apparently, if you back on GameFound, you can get a exclusive 10% discount with offensive miniatures for the game.
Oh, nice.
So they've already done something like that. So I'll just retract what I said and shut my mouth. Apparently.
Yep. No, I think, like I said, I think they've hit this out of the park. So yeah, well done to them. And Socks, there's this little game that you want to talk about?
Yeah, it's called Dystopian Wars.
Yeah, it's a little game. Quite literally, it's quite
little game. It is little. So yes, for Dystopian Wars, as we know, 4th edition just came out. and they're starting to release the new starter sets for each of the factions. Well, this next month is the Alliance starter. So we've got some newish sculpts. I mean, they've changed the sculpting around a little bit with their newer stuff, which I do like still. But you got 3 cruisers, some frigates, and then some escort tokens, and then some SRS tokens as well. So
the thing I really like about what they're doing with the new sculpting is that it doesn't feel like it's not like you're buying this and I don't want to use my old stuff anymore. It still fits alongside your old stuff.
Absolutely, I absolutely agree. I could easily see someone having the old Alliance sculpts and being able to use them. I mean, I still have my Imperium and Sultanate from 3rd edition. I plan on using them when their starters come out. So,
I like the whole like temple designs in the middle of them. Although I know it's not necessarily meant to be a temple, but the little archways and the little fancy building in the middle of the ships is cool.
Yeah. So
Otherwise,
we got a
it just looks
new
like a ship.
Alliance starter.
Oh,
Which
sorry,
one?
I looked ahead. We're not talking about it yet. I just looked ahead. And saw
we
something.
can now because there's not much with it. I mean, you're gonna get with the Alliance starter, you're gonna get, like I said, the small number of ships, and then you get your rule set, your tokens, and stuff. But then George has found the new Armored Class Union set, and I do have to agree with this. This looks awesome.
Yeah, I'm clearly agreeing as well.
So we got a new Union Assault Regiment coming out as well, and boy, for the Union, these things look cool. So these are the 2 big flying things are actually used in the game for Dystopian Wars. These are Triton rotors, and I love the look of them too.
Yeah.
They're Talon rotors, not the Tritons. Talons.
Well, so first of all, the dust cutters are freaking cool. Like that looks like,
the little ATVs.
Yeah. The auto gyros, can't call them a helicopter. It's an auto gyro. That looks like something that we young Anakin came up with on Tatooine when he was a slave. The Rangers, whatever. The shock troops,
shock troopers.
Those look kind of cool. They remind me of something, and I can't. Those jump packs they've got, they remind me of something, and I can't put my finger on it.
I would say it reminds me of something out of Warhammer, but
well, not just that, but they have the Marshal badge on them, and they're wearing cowboy hats, which is awesome too. If you look close enough, some of them will have the Marshal badge on them.
Yep.
Anybody that was watching the video version of this will have quite literally saw the moment where I opened this and I've gone with this big grin across my face. It's about 5 seconds after George goes, "Oh, this looks amazing."
Yeah, and finally the chef's kiss, those Talon rotors.
Did you see the Spectre gunship one with the huge cannons out the side?
I'm sorry, if you're gonna make it a gunship, make the cannons bigger.
Right. I mean, I have to agree, but still, these things look pretty cool.
Yeah.
For not being a Union player, I like the look of their new stuff coming out for the Union.
I'm trying to figure out whether the dust cutters exist in Wild West Exodus or not. No, they don't seem to. I want dust cutters in Wild West Exodus, please.
I mean, they might.
I mean, that's probably the larger side of what you could get away with in the game, but I see no reason why you couldn't have that.
I would definitely say, like, the auto gyros need to be in Wild West Exodus.
They're small enough that you could easily see them as a medium-sized vehicle. But also with the Talon auto gyro, if you look at the box, the Talon, not the Talon auto gyro, the Talon rotor looks like it's going to be able to be transport troops and or vehicles around based on artwork on the box.
Yeah.
So, which is a cool concept of flying in some troops or a vehicle or something, dropping them off, and then using it as support.
Yep.
So
That makes
That's
sense.
which you're gonna know this, Socks, but that's very reminiscent of the Clone Wars troop carrier.
Yeah,
For the clone army.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, the white one.
Yeah, where the side panels open up, but I mean that's very
Yeah.
reminiscent of
I don't remember the
you
name
know,
of it myself, but I know which one you're talking about. Yep.
yeah. I mean, this is the bottom coming away, you know, which
Yeah.
they would carry stuff on the bottom, drop it off, and take off.
Yeah.
So,
Which reminds me of the modern day TV-22.
which one's that?
One of the big two huge rotors on the side that can tilt.
Oh, the Offspray, the Death Trap.
Osprey. Yep, the Death Trap is. Yeah.
Did you hear they're replacing the Black Hawk with something similar to that now too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But looking forward to seeing some more stuff coming out for Armor Clash. Now that all the factions are have been released for a while now. Now we're starting to get some newer units out for them. So for all you Union players, look forward to these coming onto your table here soon. So
Yeah. Great looking box. Up next, we're moving into some TT combat stuff. We have our first of the characters for the Biophyces. This is a node the Melta. Jeez, I wonder what sort of gun it has. I think this thing looks awesome. It's simple, but that's not a negative.
I know that, you know, David specifically said, you know, like, there's no bad guys. But my God, these guys are like the bad guys. Like this ship.
There's no shiny side of this. These are the bad guys. There's no other side to this.
This ship just looks like pure menace. Like it is going to just melt something. It's if and Firefly, if the Reavers weren't so mindless, this is a ship the Reavers would have.
Mm. The thing
like,
I
it just
really,
looks...
I've always made the joke that like the Scourge are the real heroes, and which is very clearly a joke. But there's always been a hint in the lore that the Scourge were not necessarily as bad as everybody assumes they are, and there was always a hint that they were running from something too, because we don't know what their homeworld is. We don't know why they've come into this part of the space, and then, like, this, it hasn't been pointed out that, yes, this is what they were running from, but it kind of feels like there is no grey in this. The Biophyces are just the bad guys. Whether they're the bad guys that the Scourge is running from is another question.
Well, I mean, every faction could sit there and point, like, you know, these are the bad guys. Like, I could totally take the, you know, the Shaltari are the bad guys, because what do they do? They're kind of like, what's the word?
Manipulating?
I wouldn't say manipulating, but just kind of like, you know, that self-serving superior technology of, we're just going to wipe you out. You know, gameplay. Like, they could start shooting at you before you even get a chance. And they're just, God, I can't think of the word. Oppressive.
Yep.
You know, like...
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know, the Scourge, you know, like, they're just trying to survive. They're not bad guys. The PHR, you know, like, yes, we're going to subjugate you to save your lives. You know, like, these guys just, like, they don't seem to have any redeeming qualities.
No.
Side note, George, those automatas are already in Wild West Exodus.
Oh, they are?
Yep.
Okay. The auto gyros?
Yeah, well, they're called an automata, so it must be a smaller version of it. It's called a Scout Automata, so I'm guessing it's a smaller version of what we were just looking at.
Sure. Okay.
Up next is the one release that Sox is just completely not interested in, so we'll skip it. No, I'm kidding. We also have some battle cruisers.
In plastic.
Yay! And honestly, these look awesome. I mean, of course they do. It's just open and yeah. Drop Fleet Commander. I mean, PHR always seems to work really well aesthetically. You could make arguments that some of the ships maybe look a little similar, but that's really me trying to really desperately find anything to complain about. These look amazing.
I would say that's the case with just about every faction except Shaltari. Because the Shaltari are very distinct with, like the guns. But like, if you look at some of this PHR stuff, like the difference is like, what are the side pods, for the broadside? Like, that's the difference.
Yeah.
And
does it have a turret gun on the chin?
Yeah, like it's...
Or it use rail guns down the side instead of a broadside, like the second picture or third picture. So there's a few differences, but I'm loving how these things are looking.
I love these as well. They are just magnificent.
Yep.
Gorgeous,
yeah,
absolutely gorgeous. Definitely a must-own for any PHR player.
So I just thought of something that would just be like the most obnoxiously cool PHR army or fleet. You know that all-clad paint system where you can airbrush and like it looks like it's chrome.
Yeah.
Paint your PHR so like the panels are chrome, and then you have like your dirty
crunchy,
dry brushed metal for the broadsides and stuff. Like make them look the way they are now, but like have all the big body panels be chromed.
Yeah, or candied. One or the other.
Well, if you chrome it, then you can candy it to whatever color. So yeah.
Yeah.
God, I kind of want to do a small PHR fleet just to like have like chromed out ships.
That didn't take long. That didn't take long at all. I was waiting for it. Eater of Sin is here for Carnivale. It's not quite as like the extreme ones that they had been doing, but this looks so ominous. It's really cool. The Eater of Sin. Yeah, that doesn't sound threatening at all. Definitely the good guys there.
I love how his mask has a little head on top of the mask that's the same as the mask.
I didn't even notice that. That's actually a good point.
It's like little like head inception.
I hear you like head, so we've given you a head some head so that you can head while you head.
It's too much head.
I really like the undead flame looking thing is kind of cool as well. That's makes me wonder what's actually underneath the robe, because I have a feeling that it's not mortal, whatever it is.
The Jewish guy from Family Guy.
Sure.
Mort. That's who's under that mask is Mort.
Apparently it's a priest. It's a Vatican priest, but I don't know. I kind of get the feeling that that's not what's actually underneath this.
It's hard to tell, but it might be in the frontal side. It almost looks like his foot is sticking out of his robe.
Yeah.
And so, it's definitely a priest of some sort. But then you look at the backside and you can't even tell because the flames are coming out of the robe even more on the backside.
I just kind of like it. This gives me the impression of a demon that's pretending to be human. That's what this feels like. I don't know. It's just where my mind goes when I look at it. It's not a criticism. We also have Patient 42 coming for the doctors. It's always a good sign when it's the 42nd example of something that's the one that's out there.
Let's see. Hang on. The last image, Bruce. The last image
of the Doctor, of the Doctor one, or the Eater of Sin.
Yeah, no. Of Patient 42.
Yeah.
Look at how they've painted his dirty foot.
That's a really good point.
It's a great mini. Like it looks very sinister, very very Weapon X. But look at the care and detail that was taken to paint that dirty foot.
Yeah.
like of all the things about this miniature, like we need to put that on Wiki Feet.
It is a very well sculpted set of feet. Like they are.
I'm not even talking
the
about the
detail is
sculpt.
magnificent.
I am talking about how dirty and grody that looks. Like,
Oh yeah,
that's exactly what a foot would look like running through the streets of Venice without shoes on.
it's also what a foot would look
That's
like
so good.
when it's been left in an insane asylum and not allowed to be cleaned for months at minimum.
Yeah.
Believe me
Like-
when I say that these doctors are not the sort of doctors that you want working on you. You do not want to be living in that insane asylum. They experiment on all of their patients illegally, and this is the result of it.
Only illegal if you're caught.
There.
Or it's the great phrase, it's only a war crime the first time. Or it's not a war crime the first time.
Hi, Canada. How are you?
Rumble Slam ring with chroma.
Yep. So this is a brand new ring, pre-painted. There's actually two versions of this, because you'll notice there's a dark version and a light version. I'm undecided which one I prefer the look of. Maybe the light because there's more gore on it, but I don't know. I kind of like them, but I mean, you can still see the gore on the. It's more subtle on the dark one. Maybe I prefer the subtle. I don't know. So this is the championship ring. This is the new version of the ring, pre-painted, obviously, and it comes with storage. They've had to redo this for a couple of reasons. They've actually changed the size of their cards semi-recently. So the old version that used to store all the cards doesn't actually fit them anymore. They've gone to a larger card size. But honestly, I look. Do you need a physical ring for Rumble Slam? No. I mean, you can just use the mats, but it looks so much better. I mean, it's a wrestling game. You want to have a wrestling ring, right?
For $71, for as much as the minis cost and how much these games cost and everything, there's no reason for you not to spend $71 to have a board like this to play on.
Yeah. Doesn't mean that you need to have the entire arena. No. But again, it looks so pretty. Where's the arena? I'm trying to find the arena now.
The other thing I'll say too is the fact of I'm looking at new scenery only. Like, it has storage with it too. Like, it's such a good thought out design for a board. Like, it's more than just a board. It has the storage. It gives more immersion.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the entire arena is £74, and the championship ring is £45 on top of that. Like, you're looking like it's $110 for an entire arena, which would just look so cool. I mean, again, you can buy the neoprene mats. They're £9. This is a very affordable game. You really don't need much to get into it. Could you spend a lot of money on it? Yes, of course you could, but that's beside the point.
Right.
This is just easy win. Easy win. All right. We haven't looked at Conquest for a little while, but I saw some teasers of some new stuff that I just went, oh, that's pretty. And I'm starting with Winter's Bite, which is just all kinds of creepy. This is a giant-sized centipede. I'm going to say centipede because it doesn't really have enough legs to be a millipede. But it's just terrifying. This is one of their founders' exclusive ones where it's like a limited edition run miniature. But it's just really, really pretty. Winter's Bite is also such a cool sounding name.
That is just so cool. Like,
Yeah.
The
writing
paint job
into
on it
comp.
was-
I mean, as much as paint jobs make the minis sometimes, and yes, this paint job definitely helps this mini out a whole bunch. But holy cow, it's so good.
I would argue that you can get a really good looking miniature out of this without needing to go to those lengths.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I would definitely go the bright route though, route rather, because like this, it's an insect. It should look bright and threatening, like that does. I mean, yes, you do get millipedes and that are like dark and black and stuff, but it's more threatening when they're like, "Oh, look out for me."
yeah,
It's
for sure.
just cool. We also have the Gallo Glass Warriors, which are out for pre-order. This is a dual kit, so it builds one of two different things. But again, oh, these are pretty. I really don't need to buy into this game again. I didn't play it the first time I bought into this, but oh, I really love the look of these minis. And an insect faction is just such a cool idea. It just makes... It's just a really cool idea, right?
Yep.
I'm trying to figure
The
out
fact that I still haven't caved and bought a dwarf army is still.
Yeah. It's just really, really cool. I just quickly went and clicked on the pre-order under new and upcoming just to see if there's anything else in here, but I don't see
They've got the Weaver. They've got the starter set out there now for the Weaver Court army.
Yeah, I think we saw that though.
Uh,
Could be wrong.
I don't remember it.
Oh
'Cause they
no,
almost have,
no,
like-
we haven't looked at this. You're right. Oh, those giant moose elk-looking things are awesome.
We looked at their STL terrain.
I don't believe so. Okay, so the Weaver Courts is the faction that the Gallo ones belong to. These are just gorgeous. If I was to paint these up, I would definitely go in this direction, and I would make it like... I haven't looked at the background in this, so I might just be saying something that this actually is. But to me, this is like, hey, we're doing Fae. Not elves.
Look at-
Fae.
Yeah.
Which is probably
yeah.
what the lore is. I mean, they do have a history of just like, we're doing our version of this thing. I mean, their orcs, for example, are riding dinosaurs. Oh, the STL train looks great.
Go back to
Right,
the
yeah.
Weaver Court. Sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
the STL terrain does look nice. Did we cover the Cinar Riders in the Weaver Courts faction?
Weaver Courts faction. It has been a while since we've looked at most of this stuff, so...
Last row of the first page on the very
Oh
bottom.
wow.
Right. Cinar Riders.
Yeah.
These look awesome. They almost look like butterflies.
I'd say moth is a
wow.
better.
Yeah, moth.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Parabellum, can you stop making really cool looking things that I want to buy? Please? Oh, these are so
That would
good.
be fun to have an army of those.
These are so good. Yep, really nice looking stuff coming out of Parabellum as always. Like this range just they're yet to release anything that's just like, that's okay. I'm yet to see that from them at all. They have a very high ceiling of what is acceptable. I mean, will they always eventually every company will release something that's just kind of like, it's okay. And that isn't a bad thing. But they have never done it yet. All right, we're going to move on. This is going to be hard to compete with that. So, Core Aeronautics, or Aeronautics for those that speak English, are on Kickstarter at the moment with a bunch of vehicles. They're calling it Mythos Motors, largely because they're based around miniatures from the sort of era that's normally based in. They are being done at 28mm scale. So the first thing that comes to mind for me is that racing game that I really like, where it's based in like 1930s, and it's all...
Yeah.
It's going to bug me because I can't think what the name of the game is right now. These are gorgeous. They have an STL pledge, which is £30, right? And then you just get everything as an STL. They also have physical versions that they're doing as well, which is obviously more expensive. But they're scaled really well. The only thing I don't have that I kind of wish that they were doing is I don't see any drivers and stuff. It's just the vehicle. Granted, a lot of these are closed, but there are some open ones where I'd like to see some drivers for it.
Like Bugatti.
I mean, there are other companies out there that do drivers in the right scale, but it's just something I'd like to see.
Ooh, wow. They even have a Citroen.
Citroen? I like the bus.
Yeah, it's a Citroen
there it
Traction
is.
Avant.
Oh, yeah, that is cool. These are all real world vehicles, as far as I know. Or they're
all of these
loosely based on them.
No, these are all like I have a passing knowledge with most of these.
Reminds me of the mobster days. You could do with fun those minis that we saw with the mobsters and the lawmen.
Yeah, for sure.
Be some fun games with these in there.
The game that I'm trying to think of is called Maximilian 1934.
Oh yeah, these would be perfect for that.
Yeah. It's done by a company called Mana Press in Australia. And just for people on video version, this is what the rulebook looks like. It's quite literally, these would be perfect for it. The only thing that you would need to do is add your weapons and stuff, which really wouldn't be hard. And as it is, Eureka Miniatures
a speedboat
stuff for it.
Yeah.
Well, I missed the speedboat.
Yeah, there's a speedboat.
Yeah, an elegant speedboat. It's that very classic, like James Bond Italian.
Ooh,
right?
Oh, hell yeah!
Ooh, a Mercedes even.
Like they really have gone above and beyond for this. Like they really.
Bentley, another Mercedes. Oh, a Rolls-Royce Phantom 2.
That is.
Do you know how much?
Gorgeous.
Do you know how much horsepower the Rolls-Royce Phantom 2 had?
Nope.
A sufficient amount. No, seriously, that's how Rolls-Royce rated the horsepower of their cars. It was sufficient.
The Mercedes truck's kind of cool.
Oh.
That's just ready for World War II stuff right there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Sorry, hitting the microphone. So yeah, like they've done some real good work here. I mean, there's been a lot of love put into this campaign. I think you need to have the right world for these, I suppose. I mean, you could use them in modern day and say that they're collector's pieces, but it's just there are games out there that you could use these for. It's just really cool. Like, it's going to be a niche audience, obviously, but I mean, they are doing quite well. Also on Kickstarter. Oh, yep.
No, I was just gonna, like, they've just took some of the best like representations of that era. Yep. You know, with the Fords, the Mercedes, the Bentley, the just
Rolls-Royce.
Like they literally got just about every manufacturer in the Western world.
Oh, actually, I scaled past the picture of this earlier, where they're showing different scales, and I assumed that it was just that shrunk one down. But no, they're actually releasing two different versions of each vehicle, both 28 and 15mm, with the 15mm having done, like, they've rescaled things slightly, because obviously it doesn't. You can't just scale things and make have them look right. You have to
Ooh.
Anyway,
Bruce, tell me I'm wrong here. Tell me I'm wrong, but this would purely be for display board purposes.
Yeah.
But would the 28 mils not be like great for some of the Malifaux folks to have?
Actually, honestly, yeah, it's hard to argue with you there. Like that would be perfect.
Like have English Ivan standing next to that 1933 Bentley.
I mean, I'm trying to think when it's supposed to be earlier. I mean, it's a fictional bit of history, but like it's because it's meant to be like Victorian horror. But at the same time, there's clearly advanced technology that comes from the Malifaux, the Magic Stone stuff. I can't think what they're called at the moment. Yeah, like the Soul Stones. That's what I'm trying to think of. There's definitely an element of that would definitely work. You could make the same argument for Wild West Exodus, really.
I mean, a lot of people don't realize that, the car was a commonplace thing when, Wild West was a thing. Like the first, Ford cars were everywhere when, the Pony Express was still a thing.
Yeah. The next one that we have to look at is honestly the moment I saw this starting being advertised on Facebook, I was like, I'm not really a cat person. I'm not anti-cat, but I'm more of a dog person than I am a cat person. But there's something about this that just feels right. The Cats of New Orleans is a board game. It's a single or co-op board game. It kind of feels very dungeon crawly. It kind of gives me the same vibe of Cthulhu Death May Die. I mean, I'm not saying that it is Cthulhu Death May Die, but it has a similar feel. But you're playing as cats from New Orleans. New Orleans is just a part of America that seems to lean itself to these sort of things really, really well. I love the monstrous-sized mosquitoes that they've got. The snapping turtle's kind of really cool. There is a random dog in the middle of this. This is really interesting. There looks to be a gator. There's some snakes. Like, it's a board game, so obviously you're not getting as many scalps as you would in a war game. But this
be like they're shooting for like around Civil War era.
Yeah, that was my guess.
Well, no, if you look
dressed up as in a Union soldier's uniform.
Yeah, I was going to say that hat is Civil War era.
Yeah,
I just saw the vulture. There's a vulture in a hat and bow tie. That's clearly meant to be dressed up as like a witch doctor type thing. I only just saw that. That's really cool.
Oh yeah,
they've got mice too.
Oh, I missed the mice
as hero miniatures. in the
Yeah,
just below deluxe set
Yeah.
is a
Yep, Vermin Miniatures.
well, even in the hero miniatures, they've got 3 mice that are stacked up, and one of them's holding a pole arm. But then, yeah, you got the vermin army too with other rats,
These are obviously in the expansion. So.
other bugs. Yeah, they are.
Oh yeah, here we go. Vermin set. Oh yep, I can see the one on the vermin set. Don't see the other one.
I just had a funny thought.
Yeah.
So the vermin set, you got the snake, the spider, whatnot, but you got the mouse there with the 2 6-shooters.
Yeah.
That's Fievel after he went west and saw some
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'll pay you that. That's a great idea. I mean, yeah, like that is one thing. Another thing that comes to mind is All Dogs Go to Heaven. There's a Disney movie where there's a
The
mouse
Aristocrats.
detective.
The
Oh, the Aristocrats is another one. Yeah.
No, Aristocats.
Aristocats. Sorry. What's the one where there's a mouse detective and the villain is secretly a rat? It's a Disney movie. Anyway,
Is that
I
the
know what you-
Rescuers?
no, but the
No.
Rescuers is another great shout. These are the sort of things that are coming. I mean, you could say DuckTales, but obviously there's no ducks in it. But that is the vibe I'm getting from this. And if I was to have it, that's the way I'd be painting them. I probably
Oh, for
would be
sure.
going bright. I mean, because they've done these all grungy and stuff, which is fine. But I would probably lean closer to animation.
I don't know where. Hold on a second.
I
Okay,
just found
so
your
if you
3 mice. That is great.
if you scroll down, past the deluxe set,
Yep.
you have the hero miniatures.
Yep.
You got the owl and stuff. Look at the one in the bottom right. He's got, his hat with the one side tucked up, and he's got the rifle. And it looks like a machete in the other hand. Like,
Oh, it's Puss in Boots.
he looks like he's ready for some FAFO.
I would totally paint that like the character from Shrek. I mean, I know it's not entirely him, but that is exactly the vibe I get from it. Ooh,
This is
speaking of rat.
a really neat idea for a game. Yeah.
The Great Mouse Detective is the movie I was trying to think of. I
Okay,
basically
yeah.
said the name
Yep,
of the movie without realizing I had.
You're right. But no, yeah. All those vibes from all those.
Yeah.
So the crane boss, his name is Sacre Bleu.
Like,
The snapping turtle is Viceroy. Oh my god. The skunk's name is Stinker.
New Orleans is just one of those areas that, I mean, at least from the outside of America looking in, it's one of those areas that, like, New Orleans is New Orleans. Nothing else comes close. Like, you can see sometimes people trying to, like, pretend like they are. But New Orleans has always kind of felt like it's a world of its own within the United States.
It is, because it's a very unique part of the country. So if you look at, like, the New England area, it's obviously very heavily influenced by, the British, and then you got, the Southwest, which is very, Latino, Hispanic, Mexican. Louisiana is the only state where they don't have counties, they don't have commonwealths or anything like that. They have parishes. They are the only heavily French-influenced state in the nation. And so because of that, you get, the weird swamp people, redneck, southern French conglomeration that is just so unique and weird. Like, there's a couple of dialects that are only spoken in that part in that state, and you literally have to grow up speaking them to understand them. Like, other French speakers will hear it and just be like, what is that? The names, the design style, like, it's just so good.
Scrolling down a little bit further, I've just come across the Crimson Cardinal, which is it's a religious rat that's very clearly evil. The Norwegian Brown is the name of the rat that I first saw, the most threatening looking mini I've seen so far. La Abbesse is a praying mantis that's quite literally a nun praying mantis. This is... I knew I liked this. I knew I was tempted by this. But I wasn't quite expecting to be as taken by this as I am.
Oh, no, absolutely.
I kind of want all of it. I can't have all of it. I can't.
There's another bonus hero. There's another bonus hero.
Frederick?
His name is Frederick.
I just came across him. Yeah. Literally,
He's
as you said it.
Yeah, the other one, I'm trying to come up with what breed the other dog is, but I know that's a dachshund.
And painted insanely nicely.
My God, how much is it all in on this? I mean, I can't do an all in on this, but
$400.
What? Yeah, wow, that's.
I mean, it's a lot, but yeah.
I mean, that's right there on par with like my Massive Darkness.
Oh, hang on,
the Cthulhu. Yeah, it's $395.
Yeah, $395 US.
Why is there two of them?
It's $539 Canadian.
No. There's a Top Cat all-in pledge for $260, and then there's an All Nine Lives all-in pledge for $399. Why is there two different versions of all-in? I don't get it. Because
bird?
one of them has all of the add-ons as well. So the all 9 lives is you get everything from the Top Cat all in and the following. So then you also get all of those add-on things.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So
yeah.
So one of them is like it's all in, like everything you need to play, and the other one is all in plus all of the accessories, I guess.
Which again, like that's on par with like, the Massive Darkness 2 I did. Like,
yeah.
That's a really good. Again, like you said, like when I first was looking at this, I'm like, okay, and then as I'm looking, I'm like, I am so drawn into this. Like, this is.
It's really, really nicely designed. It's just a really nice looking game. I mean, obviously, I don't know how it plays, but it just looks really good. All right. It's time to move on from the top of the industry to
the bottom.
Probably the most problematic story we've had in a while. I mean, I know that there's going to be other people out there that have a different opinion on this, but I've got nothing but negative things to say. Simon in their most recent financial disclosure to the Hong Kong Stock Exchange have confirmed that they poured $2.1 million into an NFT company.
Yeah, I thought this was. I mean, they spell it out as, they're buying into a different revenue stream.
They're trying to sell this as diversifying their investment portfolio. That's what they're trying to sell this as. Yeah,
so the one thing that really, is kind of weird and kind of red flaggy about this, the headquarters for this company is a British Virgin Island tax haven.
Yep. So, a couple of things. I'm glad you said the word red flag, because that's exactly where I was going. NFTs are not a dead business, despite the fact that most people would like to believe they are. But they are still pretty much as much of a scam today as they ever were. To date, I still don't believe anybody has actually made any money or profit out of them. I could be wrong on that, but that generally tends to be the vibe I get.
So one thing that was mentioned in this article was Diablo 3, because part of the NFT, verse also has to deal with game items. So one of the popular things to do in World of Warcraft back in the day was gold sellers, because getting gold was hard. Playing the game and then farming gold, you didn't have time. But who had time? The Chinese farmers. And so that was a form of NFT transfer, because you were exchanging actual currency for this digital item to do things. So I don't know if they have plans to exploit this with some of their intellectual properties of board games that they're doing and trying to expand their game diversity into the digital world as well, or if they're just going to try to help push and capitalize on the sale of digital non-existence things,
And now let's talk about the elephant in the room, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
This is a company that at the moment has been spiraling, or at least the news that we continue to get out of them is that they are spiraling, trying to survive. Up until this point, we have largely continued to say, look, this doesn't look good, but they are doing everything they can to approach this the right way. I'm sorry, but this basically ruins all of the positive press that they have had, in my opinion. In my personal opinion, this is a giant... This is flipping the bird to everybody that's given them the benefit of the doubt.
Well,
I'm sorry, but if you have $2.1 million to throw into an investment like this, I'm sorry,
well,
A, where's that money come from? And where are all these games that you say you don't have the money for? I'm sorry, this is completely unacceptable.
So here's the thing. One, the only thing that they're not producing right now, and this is just the devil's advocate of what you're saying, Bruce. The only game they're not producing is the Genesis one, because of the lawsuit with the intellectual property holder, six more vodka. Everything else is still being produced. It's still on their docket. What was never disclosed, though, is how much did they get for Cthulhu Death May Die, including the current campaign that Asmodee had to take over and put under Fantasy Flight Games. How much did they get for the sale of Zombicide? How much did they get for that? That was never actually disclosed. So, yes, they are saying they are in financial trouble. It's spelled out here of, what was it, 25 or 24? They lost $19 million.
Yeah.
So, one, in order for them to lose that much, they had to have had something like that. So, how much are they sitting on? How much, there's a lot, considering their campaigns, there's a lot of money flying around. Cthulhu's a multi-million-dollar crowdfunding campaign. Zombicide's multi-million. There's a lot of money that, I will say, even at its peak, Mythic Games never dealt with the kind of money that CMON has.
True.
So
I'm going to make a point, and then I'm going to argue against...
You're not wrong with what you said of, why are they investing $2 million into this, where it specifically says a loss-making NFT company. Why are you putting $2 million into a company that's losing money?
I think I know the answer to this.
The only other thing I could think of, and I'm wondering if we're on the same wavelength here, is they've now bought into this company that is a tax haven. So I'm wondering if they're going to move a bunch of assets to where they can't.
They want to avoid a tax bill. It's exactly what they're doing, I think.
So I think, is that the best, or what's the word? Is that, I don't know. That seems kind of low-handed. Like,
Business?
it sounds like something. Fun story. State of Wyoming, where I'm at, we have zero income tax. We have some of the lowest corporate taxes. There are literal buildings in the state where there are just hundreds of mailboxes, and that's where companies license their businesses in Wyoming because it avoids all the other taxes.
California, for
So,
example.
yeah. So, I can't remember what it was, but Casey just bought something, and it's manufactured all this other stuff, but like the mailing address for the company is in Sheridan, Wyoming, and I guarantee you they're not. All they have is a mailbox there.
What I was going to say, like they're selling this as diversifying their portfolio, right? I mean, that's not the words they use, but that is essentially what they're trying to spin.
Yep.
What is one of the most... I'm trying to word this very carefully. The problem with the way that they're spinning this is that the video game market, the digital market, is without question the most vulnerable market on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
More companies go out of business trying to succeed in that area than anything else. I mean, the reason why is because there's just insane profit to be made if you are the one that's successful. But that's a very... most people don't make a lot of money in that space.
Yep.
Most of them live day to day. That's not the area that I'd be going to if I was trying to diversify my portfolio. You'd be better going almost any other direction.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I mean, hell,
so yeah,
there'd be less money involved trying to monetize gameplay. Like, create a team of people to play your games online, which A, will sell more of them, B, can be done low profit-ish, and hell, you don't even need to hire a team. You could pay YouTubers to do it, or sponsor YouTubers to do it. I mean, it's a business practice that's already out there. You're not doing anything wrong. There's no, oh, yeah, but... I mean, unless you happen to hire somebody that turns out to be bad, but that's pretty... That can happen anywhere. Very low investment. It just means that you sell more stuff. Well, in theory. It certainly would help counteract the negative press that they continue to get. I don't know, but it feels, if you're going to diversify your portfolio, it feels like there's way better. Why would you do it in such a risky business model? Unless it's just to avoid tax.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like this screams red flags to me. It screams red flags. And nothing but the darkest of crimson red flags. Dripping. I would be very scared if I was a backer of anything that they still currently own. I'm glad that I'm only owed like $30 for He-Man. Which is on that list of things that's currently on pause, remember?
Yep.
That should have been done already. Because it was ready to go. It should have been the first one out the door.
Where's my...
But that's it from the news.
Hang on a second. It says that that's in progress right now for manufacturing, according to their what's that called?
And it's been sitting like that for 12 months.
Well, because of order of when things were done.
Yeah, that was finished before they put it up on GameFound.
Yes, but
it should have been. It should have been getting processed before they started failing.
But Bruce, the one that's above it right now, it's not. It's currently second from the top. the another game that I have back, Mordred, was on Kickstarter, and that was completed and gone through the process. Then they got the licensing for Europe for Masters of the Universe, so that was the second in the queue. That's what they were doing as an order of the campaign, not. I understand what you're saying, but that's how it is on the list here. Of like before they sold it, Cthulhu was down at the bottom. Like this is all in the order of when the campaigns were launched.
Okay, fine. I will concede that point. I still say it's a giant red flag.
I understand what you're saying. I don't disagree with you, but it's also the order in which the stuff that you sell. But yeah. I need to minimize this window down because we're okay. So, hobby?
Yes.
Green, blue, prime, paint.
All right, Socks.
What have you been up to, Socks?
Nothing. You guys know what we talked about this last episode. Nothing.
You were going to try and do little things.
Yeah, that hasn't happened because my allergies down here, it's been dry down here, and so my allergies have been killing me. I haven't been sleeping or breathing very well down here.
Listen to the excuses.
So bad. I know, right?
Excuses.
My allergies.
Oh, you were supposed to have had all of your stuff painted months before you bought them. Where is the excitement that you were supposed to have, Socks? We're very disappointed in you.
They had two huge armies come out right after another, and so I bought all of my armies, and now I got to put them all together.
I know. This is my point. But we're very disappointed in you, Socks. Speaking of which, I've also done nothing.
So shame on you for ratting on me.
I got stuff done.
George is the only one right. George, what did you get? What'd you do?
Well, I got this finished for my train board.
Ooh, that's nice.
It only took me 4 tries to get the gazebo printed. That was a nightmare. But
I shoot at the gazebo. What does it do?
It's the centerpiece of the board.
You don't know the D&D story I'm referring to, do you?
I do not, apparently.
There's a D&D party. The DM approaches a clearing, and there's a gazebo in the middle of it. But the players don't know, or a certain player didn't know what a gazebo was. They were clearly assuming that it was a monster of some kind.
Oh, jeez.
So he tries to talk to the gazebo. He tries to shoot at it to get a reaction from it, and eventually the DM just decides, stuff this. Like it doesn't do anything. It's a gazebo. Is essentially the answer that keeps on coming back, and in the end, the DM's just like, stuff it. It comes to life and it eats you, and then everybody tells the player what a gazebo is.
I also got an order from Valhalla Hobby.
Oh, really?
I did.
I wonder what this is. Can anybody guess what it's going to be? I mean, it could be something he's been moaning about for weeks.
So I got a Fate deck.
Nice.
I got another Fate deck.
Nice.
And then I got a Resurrectionist faction book.
I'm very curious to hear what you think of those faction books, actually, because I haven't got mine yet.
And then there's Explorers Society faction book. I'll go ahead. I didn't do anything with them unboxing really, but I love the fact that like there's some lore backstory, like a lot of backstory because it looks like.
My understanding is that's pretty much what the book is.
Like this much of the book is just fluff and lore. The rest of the book is what you would expect out of a faction book. It has the pictures, the cards, and stuff like that. It's just another form of reference for the game. It is paper bound, so there's the spine. So you could cut this off and spiral bound it, but I don't know if I would with these or not. They're pretty nice paperback books. Now the Ivan box, which is the one I really want, it did get delayed, so it has not shipped yet. But my Seamus Resurrectionist box ship. So I've got them. There's 2 missing from here, but they're back there on the bench in the process of getting painted. So here's what I'm super excited about. Here's the terrain board. Here's the scale of Seamus. Right? Like, it's... Let me get it. There we go. Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't have planned the scale of this better
No,
if
it
I
looks
wanted to.
nice.
It's
Like,
you,
the
you
scale...
turned out really well.
The scale of the miniatures to the scale of the terrain, it's just... It's perfect. It is quite literally perfect. Bruce has always complained about how difficult Malifaux minis are to put together, and he's full of it. No, I'm kidding. They're not the easiest thing to put together. That's for certain. And
To
when
be
I get
fair,
when I get the,
I have acknowledged that they can be difficult to put together. I have never complained about it.
no, you have. Well, to me, it sounds like it's a complaint of like, oh my god, these are so difficult to build. They're definitely not for a beginner. That is for certain.
Agreed.
I'm gonna try to get it because they were so tiny and fiddly. Like trying to put them together like the way I was recording, like putting a Space Marine together or the Space Wolves I got. Right, I feel like I did an okay job of like recording them getting put together. I could not do that with these because they're so fiddly and my fingers are so fat. That being
The example I
Go
always used was like because people were complaining about the Marvel stuff being really difficult, and I used Malifaux as an example of look, you don't understand what difficult is, because I mean, yeah, there was stuff that was challenging that, but it doesn't even compare.
So, but we had a little discussion, my evening, your morning of my thoughts and experience putting them together, and I'm gonna try to do a see if I could get something different set up to kind of document it a little better when I do Ivan. I also want to get the FEG and emissary for the Explorer Society as well, just to like because the emissary is a bigger base. It's a 50 mil, so bit of a bigger mini as far as like I'm gonna have one of the smallest ones, one of the biggest ones, and like the normal size crew stuff. So the 2 that aren't here for the box, they're called the Mourners, and I'm going to attempt to paint them all using only the 8 colors that come in the Scale 75 black and white kit.
Which is a hell of a personal challenge that you've got there.
I really don't think it's that much of a personal challenge because if you put the paints in order of the kit, it goes from darkest to lightest. So I take these 3, take the middle one, that's the base color. Then I have the dark one that goes in the recesses, then this one goes in the top parts, right? Then I take the darkest one on, I grab the next color. I use the middle one, just repeat and do different sections to create that depth and shading for like different colors, different blockings and stuff like that. To add the depth and shape to the mini with the highlight, low light. Was it the Duncan two thin coats where everything has a triad, so you have the dark, mid, and light. I'm able to do that with this black and white set, and I just think I'll be able to pull off the very spectral look of how these minis are showing off on the artwork just by doing that black and white set. So
I do have a question.
Go for
it. Are you going to add a splash color at all?
So the only splash color that will, in theory, like splash on these is going to be the hands and the eyes. Because the artwork has the eyes of being, glowing white spots, which, I showed you in Socks, the one that I've been working on. Those white spots on that head are going to pop out compared to the rest of the mini. The other one is going to be the hands. They're going to be like a very bony color to the black. And then some of the these are female characters, so they're wearing, Victorian era dresses and stuff like that. The pop-up color is going to be like some of the ribbon and other stuff. It's going to be a muted, whitish tan versus the blacks.
So what I was more thinking is something along the lines of, do you remember Sin City?
Oh, with who is it?
Where like you have, it's all black and white, but that real bright splash of red or bright splash of yellow or whatever.
So the short answer is sort of yes, because the eyes will be, the scale 75 white on the second darkest color and darkest color in that black and white set. So yes, it will have that little bit of like there's the beady eyes, and everything's going to be like a muted kind of dark spectral shape, but like the ruffling on the shirt and some of the ribbons, they'll be like a darkish white, gray type of color. So it's like they will, the dress and stuff will be dark, and there'll be some stuff that's lighter, but then the ribbons will be definitely a lighter, kind of a mid almost.
There's been an idea I've had in the back of my mind for quite some time now, which is because I mentioned when you showed off that box set, I'd been so tempted to try and do that with some miniatures for a long time, and I've never really done it.
Mm-hmm.
The other idea I've had in the back of my head is to do like that retrograde, like as opposed to black and white, the tanny browny retro grey scale that you tend to see in photos.
Sure. Yeah, so sepia, I believe, is the
like sepia tones, which
yeah.
I think would probably be in some ways harder, but in some ways easier, because you could probably get away with washes a little bit.
Yeah, so part of the reason why I'm not going to do that is if you look at the others in the box set here.
Oh yeah.
They're all wearing gentlemen's, clothing, right? That's a lot, yes, like the hats are black and stuff like that, but the trousers are going to be a gray, the coats are going to be that brown, so it's like I kind of wanted since these are, these are all very humanoid-ish, like the dandies, the dead dandies, these two and this guy, they're zombies, so like they're going to have a paler flesh, but they're still wearing gentleman attire, so you're going to have those grays, the browns, and stuff like that. Seamus, obviously, is wearing, gentleman stuff, so he's going to have that same kind of thing. I think her dress was white, but streaky blood going up, so like she's going to really pop. This dude behind the cart, the White Rabbit Co., the box art has with green skin, so
that's because he's a gremlin.
He's a very tall gremlin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but he's a gremlin.
But so there's going to be color pop in this crew, but with the I can't remember what they're called. They're mourners, I think. They're supposed to be spectral, so I wanted to give them a very haunting, ghostly kind of effect.
Yeah.
Hence, so I'm gonna, you said it's a challenge, and I'll agree that yes, it's kind of a challenge because using one color palette to do an entire mini, that's a challenge. But doing
it's a personal challenge. It's a challenge you've set yourself. Whether you intended it to be a challenge is another question, but that's...
Well, again, I don't think it's that much of a challenge because with the whole, the miniature, formula, right? You have the color triad, your dark, mid, light. If you use that on a color, for a color palette and just shift it ever so slightly, it'll work. It's not difficult, but it's not what you would typically do on a mini. I think the only other thing I could do to make this even crazier if I grab some of my black 3.0 I've got and try to work that in somewhere else, because it's that very dark, light absorbing black that it hides detail because it's so dark.
Do you remember the bad idea I had for your basing?
Bad idea
of the shadow underneath those shades.
Oh, use some of that paint for the
where it looks, where then it basically looks like they've absorbed the light from around them.
I could probably
it could massively backfire, but that would probably be the only way I would ever use that 3.0.
Well, I have other ideas for it, like sniper cloaks on 40k minis. No, you just gave me an idea, right? So figure out how I'm going to do the basic insert for the base on those. We kind of put it in place, right? And use I guess kind of a marker almost, or a pen or something to kind of draw the outline, but then like just have it go straight out back, no shape on the back of the mini, right? And then kind of airbrush it, like, to get that shape and effect, and then just brush over it with that 3.0 as just solid dark black.
That could work.
I might have to first I have to figure out what I'm going to do for the base inserts to the basing though too. So
Well, yeah. I just want to point out that Socks, I totally captured on screen when you were trying to hide your yawn.
it's okay. I've been yawning all night, so I you're okay, Socks.
Look, Socks' bedtime is normally 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's understandable.
It's true. No, it's not.
So that's what I've done. I've
Yeah.
actually done something.
So I made the joke that I also hadn't done anything, but I was actually going to trail off and just say, so what I have done.
Oh,
So last time I was recording from Tassie, obviously. It was the day before I came home, and because I'm a genius, I booked me coming home at 11 o'clock at night before work the next day.
job.
Yeah,
did you get
I was
sleep
really
on the
clever.
flight?
No.
Good,
Had a couple-
excellent.
Well, it's only an hour flight. My flight got delayed too. It was awesome.
Jeez.
Yep. So yeah, that was awesome. That was great. I got home at like 1 o'clock in the morning or something, I think. I could be slightly wrong on that. Maybe 1 o'clock is when I went to bed. I don't remember. I unpacked, I did everything, and then I went to sleep, and then I woke up and I went to work. It took me a couple of days because I was kind of in that trying to recover mindset, because as much as I was on break, it also kind of wasn't me being on break. But the thing I have done, and I was going to try and show this off with my phone, but I wasn't able to. I've been reworking my room, so you'll notice these display cabinets behind me have moved. This section here that's all covered in boxes used to be a display cabinet, which has been pushed back. There's going to be a fourth cabinet that's added to this section, basically, just to finish filling it out. But the other thing that I've done, in this corner down here off screen, there used to be a pile of boxes that was kind of like...
Oh, shame.
I may not be diagnosed, but I'm ADHD, right? Like, it's hence why we struggle not with talking over the top of each other and stuff. It's a bad habit I have. But another one of those things is neat piles. So I've had a neat pile over here, which was bases, a couple, some of the Wild West stuff that what was left from the kits that I haven't touched. Some drop fleet bases that I bought and haven't done anything with. And I had another pile in this corner over here, which was worse. Now I'm going to very slowly... I have built a display cabinet.
Nice.
Sorry for anybody that felt sick me throwing the camera around like that.
That was not that bad.
So I've built a Billy display case with the Oxbird doors. It's one of the classic things that they sell. My intention with the top half of that is for the larger of my action figures. It's where my Ecto 1 and stuff is going to go. But it's still a work in progress. The bottom half of that has been done for storage. There's two different versions of the doors that you can buy. One is full glass, and one, the bottom half is wood, and the top, wood, and the top half is glass. So my bottom half is for my paints, my hobby tools, like all of the stuff that's constantly around, and like storing my paints has been something I've been coming up with endless versions of how to fix for a long time. I'm going back to the original one of I'm putting it on a shelf. It's just going to be behind a door, and I don't have to look at it. And then at the moment, I've organized my speed paints according to the color chart that's on the website. which is just
So-
dumb. But
I have to share this real quick too, Bruce. So let me go to our chat, because randomly one night, Bruce sent a message tagging me in it saying, "George, can you remember the name of the paint rack company that did the drawers?"
yeah.
oh yeah,
So this is pre when Hobby Zone made one, and I had gotten one and I bastardized it and got it to fit in my stuff, and I really didn't like it, and I couldn't find what it was called. I went to bed and I woke up the next morning at 6:12 a.m., got on my phone, Googled it, and sent Bruce an image. Somehow, in the middle of the night, sleeping, my brain remembered what it was called. And I
Yeah.
woke up to, like, it was Artie Station.
who seemingly they don't appear to be in business anymore. There are no products left on the website. It just seems to be a placeholder. And their Facebook hasn't been active since 2022. They just seem to have died since we covered them. There is a different company with a different name that appears to be selling a lot of their products, which I'm sure is a coincidence.
Starts with a B.
Yeah.
A B, right?
Yeah, they're all over Amazon.
Yeah.
I ended up going with just regular paint racks. What I remembered is that, well, the miniature scenic ones, which are the ones that had like that shelf design where you could kind of put a little thing on and then you could just stack them on top of the other, which isn't what I'm doing. I'm just putting them side by side. But I had two of them in there that were basically not being used because I was in the process of clearing out all of my, I was clearing out the paints that don't get used because they've been dried up or whatever. Yes, I know you can resurrect paints. It's not what I wanted to do. I was moving on from the style of paints I was using. And yeah, so they're in there. It's all neat. It's certainly not finished. This is obviously not finished. That is a pile of crap at the moment. Like it needs to be done, but progress is progress, and I will take the win. So, I mean, I haven't done anything hobby-wise other than reorganizing essentially most of my bedroom. Which, I'll take the win.
The other thing I did was I also was able to track down a spice rack that will be able to hold a small toolbox for the needles and all the tools and everything for my airbrush, the compressor, the paint shaker, and the primer bottles and everything. Get some T-slot aluminum, mount that in between the legs of my hobby bench, and get soft close drawer slides, mount them to the T-slot aluminum, mount the spice rack to the drawer slides, and then I will be able to pull my airbrush and all that stuff out, so it'll be right here to my left, and I can use it, do all the airbrushing stuff, and then put it away. And I'm going to make sure I'm doing soft close drawer slides so that it doesn't hit the end, bounce and the compressor fall off.
Yeah.
So
I also recently got a box of the Wargames Atlantic Agents, which is a kit that I've been saying I've wanted for a while. It's kind of been on my wish list for a while, but I finally pulled the pin on it and actually ordered it. I also bought, remember the Moonstone box that was like, there was a pirate captain that was a ghost, and it had like a pirate fairy and a walking crab type pirate. We covered it a little while ago. I bought that box as well.
vaguely,
As well as like 6 paints from the speed paint range that I didn't have, and then I accidentally bought one of them a second time last week because I thought it was the one that I didn't order. So I now have 2 brand new things of bony matter, which is really frustrating. But that's okay, because that's going to be the main. The bony matter is most likely what's going to get used for my Wild West Exodus, the Warrior Nation clothing, because it's that tan, natural coloured look that should look right for an indigenous population, or at least
The
how they
tan,
appear in like the tan colours, like as a base layer. Because I realised yes, there's going to be blues and reds and da, but there was like just a general lightly coloured hide look that they generally tend to show on. I mean, I'm going to say pop culture, but Which again, I realize that there's colors involved as well, but I wanted like a standard base color so that the rest of the color pops.
Yeah.
So that's where we are at the moment. And socks, I expect all of those armies to be painted within the next week.
Okay.
Definitely not unreasonable.
Talk nerdy to me.
So,
Socks, how do you pack and move your collection?
I got 4 foam cases that I use. But all the stuff that I have that I've bought for Armored Clash, luckily I'm keeping all my sprues in the boxes right now, but I like to use foam cases and foam trays.
Well, so let me expound on that question some more, because you've got quite a wall of junk behind you, but you've also probably got a pile of board games and all that other stuff. And having
I'll pan my camera over there. There's 3 shelves of just board games right there. Yes.
Yeah. So, having gone through the process of a military move, and I'm assuming it's probably a little better for you since you have shiny crap on your shoulders and not, chevrons.
Chevrons.
So people show up and box the stuff up for you, and they meticulously put tags on it, and they write down, and there's a matching tag on the invoice, so that there's a sticker on the piece of paper, sticker on the box, and then they can go down the list. Here's this sticker, here's this box, sticker box, and that's how they make sure they load up everything. But with your stuff, do you stand there and watch them do it? Do you go get some boxes and pre-box some of this stuff for them, and you just say, this is going, and they just put the sticker on for you? Like, how do you go about doing this?
I have done both, where I've just watched them do stuff, or I have literally put stuff in boxes already, and they'll just put a tag on it, and I'll just say, ship this box with all my stuff. So I've done both.
I mean, at the risk of stating the obvious, I mean, the benefit of you, because as much as I'm stirring you for not having built and painted those armies, realistically, when you're about to have a move, it's probably the best thing that you could have done right now, right? Because unbuilt miniatures are far less fragile than built ones.
Yes.
The sprue will protect them. It's kind of what it's designed for.
Mm-hmm. But all these models that I have sitting here that I don't have cases for, they will be in my car. I will be driving them with my stuff.
Well,
so bubble wrap or whatever in a box in the back of my car, instead of being dumped into a box, and who knows what's going to come out of it when I open the box on the other end.
I mean, in the case of this move, yeah, you can kind of get away with doing that because, it's fairly feasible for you to make 2 to 3 trips.
Yeah.
Because it's what, your 3 hours, right?
Is a 3-hour drive.
Right. So you were stationed over in the UK and then went to Kansas, right? You couldn't do that there. So, I mean,
and I had Flames of War back then. I got into drop zone commander there. I got into X-Wing out there. And so, yeah, I bought a ton of foam for that reason. So that all of that stuff could get protected as best as I could. Because, yes, I know people like the metal trays and they do the magnets and stuff like that. But still, in a move across country or whatever, it's...
I will say this: the magnetizing a metal tray, if you personally are moving it and you're taking that responsibility, that's one thing. But for it to go into a box and be sealed up and then go into and then disappear for a month, like, does that box tumble down?
Exactly.
How is it treated? Like,
Yeah.
I always think of, the opening of Ace Ventura: Pet Detective when he's, trying to get that dog back, and he's pretending to be a UPS guy, and he is just abusing the living expletive out of that box, and the guy's like, "Sounds broken, most likely." So like,
Yeah, that's what. And with some, I mean, we all as miniature players and hobbyists, we see how sometimes some of these miniatures, how fragile they can be, even if they're not looking like it. And so, yeah, they just dump stuff in a box, seal it up, and then you're absolutely right. We're gonna put it into a crate, and then it's gonna go. Who knows what direction that box is gonna be facing when it goes into the crate and out of the crate.
yep,
I mean,
for sure.
for me, if you're going to be moving with miniatures, one thing that you need to accept before you've even started packing is that ultimately not
Things will
everything
break.
is going to survive.
Yep.
Most of it will probably be fixable, but there's going to be at least one or two things that are probably going to be beyond repair. It's just a fact of miniatures. That's a fact of, like, it's a fact that sometimes happens when you're going down your mate's house for a game. Like, it just happens sometimes. I've stated a couple of times, like, we've had people comment. Semi recently, somebody commented on one of our videos where I was talking about on a motorbike. And I was like, oh, that was ages ago. But no, if you're taking your miniatures on a motorbike, magnetizing is pretty much not feasible because there's just too much vibration. It ultimately, one of them will come free and it just goes everywhere. It's just a fact of the way that it is. Which isn't to say that foam is perfect either. Things can still break in.
It's not. Yes,
you can
I
buy
agree.
all of the battle foam that you want. It's not going to protect everything. It's probably the best chance you have, though. Like, you don't lock your car up because it will guarantee it won't get stolen. You lock your car to reduce the chance of it being stolen. Same with house, etc., etc. It's preventative. You can't protect everything from everything. Socks is just so delighted to be going through this again.
No.
So this is more of a question for personal edification here, Socks. Has the quality of moving increased as your rank has?
No, it's still
No.
the same.
It's still the lowest bidder?
Yep.
Yeah. I will say this: the best military move I had is when I left Japan, because the Japanese moving company that was hired to do it, holy cow, you think they were moving their personal stuff that way. Like, the absolute best experience I've ever had, because it was like, it was not just, yeah, we're here to pack up your stuff. It's just like, we're here to protect everything and move it for you. Like, it was phenomenal.
And the nice thing is we have 3 cars now. So my wife's car is going to be probably filled up with a lot of some stuff that we're going to need.
I'm sorry, your wife's car. I distinctly remember you buying her quite a nice gift of a rather large suburban wife tank.
Yes, exactly. But her car is going to be filled with a lot of the stuff that we're going to need, maybe some pots and pans, clothes, and stuff like that. My
The children?
old Toyota, a few of the children.
They
luckily,
can walk. It'll be fine.
No, they can't.
I couldn't help it. I'm sorry. That was too easy.
You got 2 legs. Get going.
Look, there's an army of them. They can protect each other.
I mean, if you weren't in the Air Force, you could be like, I've rucked this far. You can do it. Just get going.
Right. But then I have a nice SUV, and I plan on folding down my 2 middle seats. Just that way, I have more cargo space for as much of this stuff as I can take with me.
Yeah.
And even if it is in multiple trips. So
I was gonna say, like, I mean, I think you said it was a 3-hour drive. So I mean, that's like,
Drive.
yeah, you could literally like take off tomorrow morning with a load, get to where you're going, unload, and drive back
You
same
drive
day.
back in time. Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah. I mean, you'll probably be really frustrated with it halfway through the second trip, but you can feasibly do that.
Yeah.
I don't think so, Bruce. Driving 3 hours is not a feat of or it's not an inconvenience over here.
It's more a matter of tedium, right? Well, I'm not saying that he won't do it.
No.
It's just
No,
that
driving
it's
across
just,
Texas is tedious because you're in the same state for the entire day.
Okay, well, yes, driving across Texas is, it's the same thing as driving across Nebraska, but it's not a tedious thing. Like driving is, it's just something we do here. It's not,
Our
it's
mode
not
of
like,
transportation isn't the greatest like it is in Europe. So we're
to
used
be fair,
driving.
I enjoy driving / riding. Like it's something like when I had a car, me just going in the car and going for a drive to nowhere is not unusual. But when you're
Right,
making
but-
multiple trips, anything can become tedious after a while. Is more my point. You would still do it though, because the result of not doing it is most of your stuff being destroyed.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying is like in the UK, like they'll fly from London to Scotland to Edinburgh because it's so far away. It's on the other end of the country.
Tassie's the same.
Yeah, so yeah, but there's a big body of water separating Tassie though from.
No. Like they will complain about having to drive for 1 hour because it's too far away.
Oh,
1 hour here is like easy for us.
Yeah, it's what we do. It's what we do every day. I was doing a minimum of 45 minutes to work every day at one point.
jeez.
George, how long does it take you to get to work?
Right
2
now,
seconds.
Yes.
if I were to wake up and go to work, it would take me about 5 seconds.
Yeah.
When I actually had to go to an office, it would take me about 15 minutes.
Yeah. It takes me about 5 now. There was a couple of different topics that I was going to touch on today. I kind of changed what we were going to talk last night because I kind of felt this is probably the right time to touch on this because it's right when Socks is in the middle of it. And like
Yep.
it's not the first time we've talked about it. I just thought it was probably worth a refresher because there's always somebody that's going to be moving. And there's always somebody that's in the hobby for the first time. Plus, the discussion can help for people that are like, I can't play games at home. How do I bring my stuff to places?
Well, here's the other thing too. Like it's not just that. Like Adepticon.
Yep.
Yeah.
People are traveling massive distances to go to Adepticon to play in tournaments. Like
Yes.
the army I helped with years ago. Getting the terrain board done, getting all that was one half of it. The next half of it was getting it packed so that he could get, on a train and go from Denver to Chicago on the train with his army and have it show up intact so he could pull it out and set it up on his, for his display board because he wasn't just playing, he was also going for painting comps. So, like, it wasn't just an army he was shipping, it was an entire display board, too. It's
Probably last point on this. Like I mentioned that, like if you're going to be moving, especially long distance, like you need to accept that breakages are going to happen. It's just going to be a thing that you will have to deal with. You might be one of the lucky ones. Assume that you won't be.
Yeah.
But first purchases for the other side is some super glue / plastic glue, depending on what it is. I would probably argue that on painted miniatures, you're better off using super glue anyway. Preferably something that allows you to have control over how much super glue you use, so you don't flood it with super glue. If you can get the ones with like the little tips that you can take off and exchange, it's a godsend for building your minis to begin with. But plastic glue doesn't glue on top of paint.
Well, but if you have a plastic on plastic break, the plastic glue will.
Reseal
It should
Should.
be fine, but there's a chance that it won't be. You're also realistically, like, you might be lucky enough to pin it and you can't see, but realistically, you're probably going to have to repaint at least a few of the breakages.
Yep.
Like, there's really no way of hiding, because even if you paint over the top of it and glue it down, you can see that there's broken paint underneath it. There's really no hiding it.
I'd also like to interject real quick too on the building of my Malifaux stuff. If plastic glue was not a thing, I would have had the worst time.
Yes, don't build Malifaux with super glue.
The first thing I did was I trimmed a little bit of the sprue and like put the plastic glue on, to make sure it worked. Is like, when I saw it, like, oh, thank God, because I've got the Tamiya stuff with the little tiny brush to applicate it with.
I'm almost reluctant to ask this, but I'm going to anyway. Socks.
42 red balloons.
What's the worst example of breakage that you've had happen in a move?
I have actually been pretty lucky. I've had maybe a model just come off of its base.
Yep.
Because it's been in foam. I think that's been the biggest piece of, and that was one of my Star Wars Legion stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's bigger stuff, bigger models. It's not the Finley stuff the swords, that kind of stuff. I am worried about if I ever have to go overseas again. I am kind of worried about my Rome set, because all my cavalry have spears, and so I'm afraid that they're all gonna.
Hey, Socks.
Stuck in foam and
Socks.
Yep.
If that were the case, I would send that to or drop it off with your family and not move it overseas.
I agree.
Yeah. Or put it in long storage, which they can do that.
Yeah. Like a Legion army or a Warhammer army or something like that, where the foam solutions are readily available are one thing. But something like that, where it's like you're already playing a very niche game there that like not everyone's ever heard of.
Yeah.
The storage solutions and options for it are not going to be as readily available as the mainstream stuff that everyone has heard about and is making stuff for.
Yeah, I agree.
I would probably say that mass battle is probably not a game that you want to take with you when you're on deployment anyway.
No.
Well, so
you want skirmish, surely.
Well,
I actually brought my entire Legion stuff with me.
Oh, okay.
So there's actually like different levels of things. So like our first episode we ever recorded when he was just deployed by himself, that's one thing. But if he moves his household, if he takes his family with him, it's a minimum 3-year deployment that he has to go for.
True.
So it's like the time and care to pack up and move a mass battle army overseas for 3 years, especially if he goes to like the UK, where the chances of him being able to play that are extremely high. Like, that's
fair. Yeah. But I think that's probably everything.
Aren't you going to ask me, Bruce?
What's the worst breakage you've ever had?
I had an old school 40k dreadnought come loose and
I know.
Go through everything.
That's right.
I've had that happen too.
Yes, but it's the 40k old school dreadnought. It's the giant fist-sized thing of pewter that goes through everything, and when everything else is metal, everything else just comes apart. All the paint falls off. Everything breaks.
Press the button.
I'd like to give a shout out to our sponsor, Valhalla Hobby.
Yes, thank you, Valhalla Hobby, for sponsoring this episode. We really appreciate you. They're based in Verona, Wisconsin. You can also find them at valhallahobby.com. That's V for Victor, ALH, ALLAHOBB for Bob, Y.com. Hey, I'm doing the spelling it out thing. They don't just
Victor
have your
Alpha Lima Hotel Alpha Lima Lima Alpha dot Charlie Oscar Mike.
that too. They don't just have your Warhammers. They've got a huge range of the indie scene as well.
Bruce, I'm going to interrupt you, and I'm going to talk about something else Valhalla Hobby does that is absolutely amazing, and I think it's a great thing to touch on. So, Valhalla Hobby, they have everything. I got my Malifaux from Valhalla Hobby. It showed up in a nice box with bubble wrap, and everything was wrapped so protect. Like, the only way anything could have happened to my order is if, like, I would have received notice from the post office of, hey, we damaged your package. Blah blah blah. We'll have to replace or file an insurance claim. The care that Valhalla Hobby takes to box up your order to ship it to you is amazing. I've ordered stuff from Games Workshop, and they throw the boxes in a box with some paper and send it along the way. Not Valhalla Hobby. Everything had a layer of bubble wrap around it. Everything was protected. It was not going to shift in the box. I felt like the care that they took into it is far beyond what even the manufacturers do. So I want to say thanks to Valhalla Hobby for not only having a store that provides all the games, but then taking the care and attention to package your orders to make sure it arrives to you safely on your doorstep.
If you would like to support us, you can find us at patreon.com/gettingtabled. For $2 a month, you get early access to all of the video content that we do. You also get the chance to listen to us live if you would like to. There's also an exclusive Tablers channel on the Discord that is just for the Patreon. You can find our website at gettingtabled.com. It has the links to all of the stories that we discuss. I am slowly trying to update to add all of the older links from previous episodes as well. You can also find us at facebook.com/gettingtabled, youtube.com/gettingtabled. Please subscribe. We'd love to get closer and closer to that epic 1,000 number. If you would like to reach out to us for any reason, like if you're a company that you want to reach out, if you're an audience member that you want to ask a question, did we get something wrong? Do you appreciate something that we had to say? Do you want to tell us off for not giving Socks enough time to talk? Gettingtabled@gmail.com. Hey, little secret. He doesn't talk even if we try. Discord, there is a link in the description. I will show it on screen here as well. X, Instagram, Blusky, Threads is all at Getting Tabled. The Reddit is r/gettingtabled. You can also find me at Toyreel, which is youtube.com/Toyreel. And if you're curious about Entropy City, then you can find it at entropycity.com. Anything else from you, Socks?
Nope, I'm good.
What about yourself,
So
George?
the next time you ask that to Socks, just ask him and then immediately start talking. Don't let him finish.
For those on the video chat, I am going to show a cartoon that I just saw that I've already lost. There it is. As we go off.
Is that the way you just said to us?
Yeah, it's totally the one that I just said to you. It's very relevant to one of our earlier stories.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For listening to Getting Tabled. Music used in this podcast was created by Eric Matyas at soundimage.org.